all of our families who are logging on right now. We're going to wait just another minute or two for folks to get through the waiting room, make sure their audio is working, all of that. So hold tight for just 1 or 2 more minutes and we'll get started. Thanks so much. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started to be respectful of time and to get into our content for this evening. My name is Grace Sullivan Zirkle. I serve as the Associate Director for New Student and Family Programs, which means I have the privilege of working not only with incoming students, but also our families for the 4 years that your students are here at Duke. We are very excited for our March webinar this evening with the Duke Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We're excited not only to hear about opportunities for students and from students, but to have a brief interactive portion of this, which for anyone who's familiar with Duke I&E, I think they are known on campus for being quite literally cutting edge, helping students think creatively, and constructively. And so I'm excited for families to go through a brief little activity this evening with our colleagues. A few housekeeping items. We are in a large meeting format so that we can have a breakout room briefly to have our interactive portion this evening. But for now, cameras are off, folks are muted so that we can focus on the presentation. We are recording, but I promise that the breakout portions will not be recorded. So we hope that you'll participate fully in those sessions or in that section. If you have questions throughout the presentation, you are welcome to put them in the Q&A feature at the bottom. You should see a Q&A, and you can submit those at any time. There'll be a portion at the end where I will help facilitate discussion and ask those questions to our colleagues who are here this evening. So with that, I am going to pass over the mic to our colleagues from Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Thanks so much for being here.
Great. Thank you so much. We are so excited to spend some time with you. My name is Kevin Hoke. I'm the Deputy Director at Duke Innovation Entrepreneurship, and I'm going to kick us off. And at Duke Innovation Entrepreneurship, we are inspiring and empowering the Duke community to act entrepreneurial in all endeavors. And you're going to see a familiar theme throughout our focus on all of the community, all students, because we believe at Duke I&E that there is an entrepreneurial mindset that all students can learn and apply in whatever they choose to do. And of all of our educational experiences, as well as all of our co-curricular and any program we do, we are core in these following beliefs, and we want to share a little bit about that and who we are. So if you think about this entrepreneurial mindset and what Duke I&E provides, we want students to think about when they approach the world through a few different lenses. So the first thing we teach our students is about the idea of curiosity and creative problem solving. How can we go about in the world and look at it with a sense of curiosity, a sense of wonder, a sense of finding things in the world that we want to improve upon, change, engage with, and find ways to engage with it in novel, unique, new ways. The next thing that we bring to our students is a deep understanding of our stakeholders' why. This could be anything from a customer, a person in your community, someone you are designing with, someone you are making a change for. Building great empathy for the needs, hopes, and desires of that community, leaving the building, if you will, going out and engaging with them, finding out how you make a change with their input together. And then with that understanding, you can come up with a new innovation that they care about, that they will buy, that they will engage with, and build that kind of why around your idea and that they'll be excited to engage with. The next idea that we engage this entrepreneurial mindset is managing uncertainty. It feels like we're in a time around us of lots of uncertainty, and that's true as well with any innovation or any change. And we give students frameworks, theories, ways of looking at the world in which they can approach and de-risk any idea they have. Some people know this as maybe as a jobs to be done theory, or a lean startup, or a design thinking. These are kind of feel like maybe a buzzword, but they are core in theory and practice. We put those tools with students and they go about this problem solving in a managed way to decrease a risk, to come up with an innovation and have that backed by a practice that ensures a greater chance of success. The next aspect of an entrepreneurial mindset that we bring to students is resilience and learning to fail. When we're young, we have this thing in us that embraces learning from failure. It's that curiosity, that way of experimenting, doing quick experiments and learning why things the way they are. But as we grow, we get more and more resilient, more and more scared of failing. And as students craft the perfect application to Duke and want to succeed and get all A's, bringing forth those opportunities to learn from failure, to learn from experimentation, to reflect, to realize that that's a way to move complicated ideas forward, to make real impact, to embrace that failure and resilience, to build those muscles. It's really important to do, whether it's entrepreneurial landscape or anything you want to do, you need to put that muscle into practice, and that's another part of this mindset we teach. The next is intentional impact. At Duke I&E, our focus is on putting things out in the world that have positive impact. That starts with the individual. It starts in what are the problems you want to solve? What are the ways in which you want to go and put a new invention on the world? And then as you build organizations and companies and cultures and teams, how do you do it in a way that's ethical, that hears people, that wants to make a positive impact on the world? So if you think about this, you think about these kind of frameworks of looking at problems, anybody can have an entrepreneurial mindset. And that's what we believe in practice, in the sense that we will support all students in this. And then we also come along students who want to start a company. And so we're going to go through a little bit of that. But we think the best way to do this is through experiential learning. So a lot of our classes, a lot of our experiences are really quick. Let's get out, let's try this, and let's learn from it and reflect. So as I started with, anybody can be an innovator. You all here didn't realize you were signing up for this, but you are going to become an innovator. And we're going to do it through a simple exercise, but you'll get the idea. And like I said before, one of these aspects of being an innovator is creativity. And just for simple level setting, we're gonna define it here. So creativity is using your imagination to create something new in the world, ideas, solutions, approaches. And sometimes people are like, I'm not creative. That's for somebody else, or you're real creative. That's not something for me. But as I said, when we're younger, we all feel creative. We're all excited to explore and make things. And so what the research finds is that it's simply by that embracing that enthusiasm for trying more things. So when you think about it, how do you have a good idea? You have a lot of ideas. And so we're going to practice coming up with a lot of ideas and being more creative and finding ways to embrace that, to build those kind of neural pathways and those connections and those muscles of entrepreneurship, and see how we can apply that later in the world. So just like I said, experiential learning, the best thing to do is practice and to apply. So here we go. So if you have a piece of paper nearby you, if you have something to type on your computer, on a note, or if you can just keep a running list in your head, what we want you to do for the next minute is list all the uses for these push pins you can think of. So when I say go, you will simply think of, what are all the ways I can make use of a push pin? Very simple exercise. There's no right or wrong answer here. So I have the minute on the timer. What I want you to do is list all the ways in 60 seconds that you can make use of a push pin, and go. you'll find that a minute is both long and short. The silence makes it feel long, but it's over real fast. So 60 seconds. What are all the ways that you could use push pins? So you are halfway there. If you have stopped, you have 30 more seconds to push yourself. If you haven't started, you still have 30 seconds to go. About 10 seconds left to list all the ways that you can make use of push pins. All right. That was it. 60 seconds. Hopefully you have 60 ideas. And what is the secret to how to have more ideas? There was probably a moment when you thought about an idea before you wrote it. You said that's silly, or that's not good enough, or they may call me and I don't want to say it, or maybe that's not possible. So we do a ton of self-censoring. A ton of times we don't say things that come to our mind and that they never make it out. And so what we encourage at Duke I&E is not censoring, not filtering. We will worry about the how later. Let's just come up with all the ways and inspirations and all those kind of curiosity and novel ways to solve things. And let's not self-censor. So in the spirit of that, we are going to keep on pushing. So a little bit of pun there on that, but we want 45 more seconds that you can find additional ways in which you can use push pins. So if you haven't done it yet, in the next 45 seconds, hopefully you can list a few. And we're almost done with our brainstorming. So list over 45 seconds, additional ways, I set the timer we're going, that you can use these push pins. I see people jumping in, and that's great. Welcome. What we are doing is a quick innovation activity, and it's really easy to jump in. Just start listing all the ways that you can use push pins. About 10 seconds left. All right. Good job. And so it's one thing to have ideas by yourself. And if you remember when I started, we talked about, I referenced this idea of getting out and engaging with stakeholders, understanding people's needs and building with them. There's also a way to do that together with diverse teams. And so Duke is known for a diverse community with people from all kinds of backgrounds and amazing stories. And you all are from those backgrounds and stories as well. So we are going to put you out in teams, and we are going to ask you in teams of 3 to come up with how many ideas that you can actually come up with push pins. So in these new groups of teams together, you are gonna, over 5 minutes, we're gonna say, how many ideas can you come up with the push pins? So the way to do this is you'll get in your group, you'll introduce yourselves to each other, and then one person will volunteer to go, and they'll say, hi, my name's Kevin. I'm going to tell you the 10 ideas I came up with. And then Kyle will say, those are great 10. I had 3 more. Let me share those 3 more. Here's my 3 more. And then Dalton will come on and say, I had 2 additional ones. So first we started out with 10, but now we had 15. And so over 5 minutes, hopefully you can come up with many, many ways that you could use push pins. And so, so what we are going to do is you are going to get put in groups of 3. So look for your group, your breakout room to join. Your camera will be on, your mic will be on, you'll meet somebody new. And in that room, you will come up with all the ways that you came up with to use push pins. So I will turn it over to our friends and see we'll get you out there.
I just turned the breakout rooms on, so you should see a button that popped up in your middle of your screen that says join breakout room. If you click on that, it'll take you into your small groups where you can connect with some other people with this activity from Kevin.
So in our chat, really quick, what we want to do is say, we went from 10 ideas to 20 ideas. So real quick, just to see how far people got. Hopefully you had a chance to meet somebody new and just to find a fun activity to expand kind of a little bit of creative problem solving together. And so can a few people from the different groups say where you started? We started with 10 ideas. We ended up with 20 is what I put in the chat. If anybody has a few of those in the chat, we'll just do that real quick, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about Duke I&E, and then we'll hear from our students. So in the chat, does anybody have 30 ideas, 20 ideas, 10 ideas? There you go. Thank you. We had 11 came out. All right. One more. Any other from the rooms? It's okay. There wasn't I didn't put a competition. So 5, 10, all work. Well, thanks for those who shared. Oh, again, oh yes, the conversation is good as well. Yes, thank you for adding that too. Yes, this was not a competition. So the process and the experience and the lesson learned from it is what we often emphasize. So a little quick taste through a fun activity to just kind of warm up that innovation mindset that we try to bring to all students, and the idea that we can build more together with a diverse group than we can just by ourselves. All right, so a little bit about Duke I&E, and then we'll hear from our students. We have this bold vision at Duke I&E that every Duke student has an experience while they're on campus. And so we're not just for building startups with a few students. We are finding ways that we can meet students where they are and help them see how they all can be innovative and entrepreneurial. And a little bit of ways to look at that. This is from this year. So for this year, we have reached 3,252 students and counting. And so these are the ways in which students engage with us. We are for anything from a first-year student to a PhD student. And so you'll see numbers here reflecting graduates and undergraduates, as well as programs, classes, and our certificate. So we had 1,135 students take a class with us this year. 2,325 students have been in a program we've sponsored. And then we have 2 certificates. We'll talk about the undergraduate certificate, and we had 771 pursuing those, 398 in our undergraduate certificate. So we believe in big goals and going on ways to achieve those. Our original goal this year was 5,000 students, and we are still working towards that this year to see if we can achieve that large goal. And as I've said and alluded to, Duke I&E is greater than startups. I'll talk to you first about the students and this entrepreneurial mindset, ways we do that, and then we'll talk a little bit about the students creating companies as well. So if you think of the E mindset and how we went through those activities and how it can be a differentiator, whether students are interested in to being a consultant, they're interested in corporate innovation, they're interested in finance and banking or big tech or community work, the entrepreneurial mindset of creative problem solving, curiosity, impact, ways in which you approach problems through frameworks, all of that is applicable. And we truly believe that it's a differentiator to help students build the resiliency, to help them find new ways and make immediate impact in jobs and internships and in communities. And so there's 3 ways in a system in which we do this. So we have our classroom education. So Duke I&E focuses on interdisciplinary courses and experiences. So students from across the university come together in a course and they have an experience together. And we want that to complement your major or your minor or your minor. We have hands-on experiences in which we want to make meaningful programs for students and support them through an ecosystem of activities and community and advising and mentorship. And then we make connections and experiences through our thought leadership and our faculty, and taking a robust network of Duke parents and entrepreneurs and alumni and bringing them all together with our students and building on our faculty research and getting everything in this ecosystem in a way that all can benefit. So let's pause and slow down a little bit. I want to really take a second here to talk about our undergraduate certificate. So our undergraduate certificate is something that is one of the more committed things that students can do with Duke I&E. It is a credential. You can get a major, minor, and a certificate. So the minor and the certificate have some similarities in that the amount of courses they're required. They're a little bit less than a major. So there's a Duke I&E certificate. And what that looks like for undergraduates is they take 2 required courses. That's a strategy for innovation and entrepreneurship course, and then a capstone course. The strategy course is focused on a lot of business concepts applied to innovation and entrepreneurship. And then the capstone course pulls all their different experiences together and builds on all your coursework and your experiences, which I'll talk about. There's 2 electives that students can take. We have about 75 of those from across the university. Those electives are really, we call like a pathway, ways in which students define goals that they have, whether they're interested in technology, they're interested in social impact, or interested in creator and the arts. They build elective set around that. And then the next big component is the experiences. So you have to do 2 out of the classroom experiences, 150-hour and 300-hour experience. And together that adds up to 450-hour experience, and then everything gets pulled together in a portfolio. And all that together creates the I&E certificate. So you take 4 courses, do 2 experiences, and have a portfolio. And you can pair that with your major. We have activities that students can do outside the classroom, anything from celebrating failure to learning how to commercialize technologies to college night with startups at what is American Underground as a community co-working space, and helping students meet others to form ideas and create pitch competitions. We also embrace creator economy and ways students can be entrepreneurs through things like NIL, through being artists, through being influencers and thought leaders. And we have courses and programming to help students further that aspect of entrepreneurship. We do have student entrepreneurs. So you can see from this slide, they're from across the spectrum. We have students who are creating memorabilia in unique and new ways, having food products that are healthy and care for you, skin products. We have students in technology space, leveraging bots to go shopping for you. And we even have students who are creating platforms for people with mobility issues. And so you can see across this, we have students in mechanical engineering. We have students in the liberal arts. And we also have a doctoral student in occupational therapy. So as you can see, our reach is broad and our students are doing amazing work. And how do we do this? We give students the money, the know-how, community, and the time and space. We provide non-dilutive funding for students to help them build their companies, surround them with mentorship, education, and other students to build that know-how, community of students and others who have done entrepreneurship and know the struggles and know how it can be hard, and build around each other and have a cohort experience. And we provide the time and space through programming and through classes. On the other side of the screen, you can see the different types of workshops we do outside the classroom to help students build their companies through pop-ups. And so what I've covered here a lot was different ways in which we impact students. Again, we started with this idea of an entrepreneurial mindset in which we empower all students to be entrepreneurial in all their endeavors. We have students who do that in curricular and co-curricular experiences. And we also come alongside students who are entrepreneurs and want to build their own ventures. But through all of that, our goal is to serve every Duke student at Duke, while they're here, and we meet them where they are throughout their experience. The best way for you to learn what we do is to hear from our student perspectives. And so we brought two students here to share with you about what they've done with Duke I&E and how it has impacted them. So the first student to share is Sammy.
Hi, thanks, Kevin. I'm Sammy. I'm a graduating senior this May, and I've had a great experience at Duke, and specifically because of I&E, that made up a big portion of my amazing Duke experience. So I'm majoring in public policy and international comparative studies with the I&E certificate. So coming into Duke, I was like very set on studying public policy, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do outside of that. But I actually was like extremely set on not doing I&E. So it's kind of funny that it ended up being such a big part of my experience. So I did the Duke in Silicon Valley summer course the summer after my freshman year, and I began school during COVID. So that was it was virtual, but it was still an incredible experience. But now that program is in person, so you actually like go to Silicon Valley and you go around to all of the different companies. So we did all of this virtually, and it was still an amazing experience. So you got like a month of experience, like visiting different like small startups, like big corporations, getting just a view into what it's like to work in many different roles and at many different companies. So it was really a great experience, like learning about what the different options are that I could do like in my future. And then the course itself was how to like build a venture. And I loved the course. I fell in love with the I&E like framework of how all the courses are taught, because they're very experiential, like as was mentioned before, and they just teach you to think in a different way. So I fell in love with that, and then I continued on with the I&E experience, and I participated in a Bass Connections my sophomore year. So that was a year-long research project. Bass Connections has a ton of different research projects going on, from like different like medical things to engineering, and then there's like social sciences ones. So this is where this fell into. So it was the participatory solutions for human flourishing, and I was on the necessity driven entrepreneurship sub team. And it was just an incredible experience. We spent the entire year identifying problems with a local nonprofit. So we were actually like getting to work with a real like entity, a real organization, and help them solve a real problem that they were facing, and then implement whatever like solution that we came up with. So we spent the whole year diving into the problem, understanding it, and then iterating upon the solutions that we came up with to give the best solution for the group. I also helped run a wellness design sprint at Duke, which was a great experience to actually like teach what I had been learning that year with the different open design process. And the next like most important part of my I&E journey was I took 2 social innovation courses, and that's really where I like fell in love with the intersection of social impact and innovation. So I always knew that I was interested at the intersection of business, of like the private and public sectors, because that's my goal. Is I'm really passionate about pursuing a career where I'm also helping people, but I understand that like you need to sometimes the public sector has some red tape that private sector doesn't, and you're able to be a little bit more innovative and nimble when you're in this space. So I fell in love with social innovation, and that's what I will be pursuing when I graduate. I'm going to be working for Kohler Company's in-house startup Innovation for Good, and I'll be the group works to get safe water and sanitation to underserved parts of the world. So that's a little bit about me in a nutshell, and specifically I&E. You can ask like questions about anything. I included a few fun pictures at the top. This one is from I tented for the past 2 years. That's with like 2 of our tents together. And then I also studied abroad in Rome.
Cool. All right. I guess I'll get started. I don't know whether I'm pinned or not, but should be good. Hi, everyone. My name is John Buxton. I am a current sophomore in the class of 2026. And as someone who has loved every bit about his journey being an I&E student, I'd love to walk you all through my experiences in pursuing their certificate. So to start, for some context, I was always someone who was interested in entrepreneurship. I think I definitely came into Duke knowing that I wanted to pursue the certificate because I'd heard about it before entering. And immediately when I got here, I began enrolling kind of in as many I&E classes as I could. Some classes I've taken range from classes like improvisation, which taught me about public speaking skills, thinking on my feet, and even how to pitch an idea to investors, all the way to other classes that taught more hard skills, such as product management and also a social innovation class. So I think those really kind of taught me the core of what it means to find a solution and find a problem and then find a meaningful solution to it, which I think is the core of the I&E curriculum. Outside of the certificate, I actually recently declared my economics major, which I think really complements the I&E certificate because it kind of puts the work that you're doing in a greater context of a bigger economy and a greater world. And this also ties into what I think is one of the most valuable things that you gain from the I&E certificate, and that's real world experience. One of the ways that I engage in this is by being a member of the Cube Living Learning community. This is an I&E sponsored group on campus for aspiring student entrepreneurs. We actually have an entire section of a dorm that we live in together with on campus, where we're encouraged to work together on innovative solutions for problems, making startups together, and then obviously going out in the real world and enacting our solutions. We actually just had a member of our group get accepted to Y Combinator, which hopefully some of you may know, but it's one of the best entrepreneurship startup incubators in the country. So it just kind of goes to emphasize one of the many ways in which the I&E department is supporting student entrepreneurs in their endeavors. And then even for those who don't necessarily see themselves being a founder, I think I&E has so many amazing opportunities to engage in the overall world of innovation. This past summer, I also participated in the Duke and Silicon Valley program, which took place in San Francisco for me. It was in person, luckily. So we got to have so many amazing experiences visiting some of the most exclusive companies in the world. We visited and met with Duke alums working as executives at Apple, Google, OpenAI, and so many other amazing, really cool companies doing really cool things. It was an amazing opportunity to kind of get a glimpse into what it looks like to, after you've been a startup creator, what those startups look like as a successful large organization, which I thought was a really cool experience. And then this semester, I also continued gaining more real world experience through the help of Duke I&E. The department has a sponsored internship with the Council for Entrepreneurial Development, which is an organization located in Raleigh that provides resources for North Carolina entrepreneurs and startups to get connected to resources, capital, and essentially any opportunities they need to know about. I've been working with them this semester to put together pitch competitions, aiding entrepreneurs in validating their ideas, and overall helping myself gain a greater view of what it looks like to make a startup. And speaking of creating a startup, that is exactly what I've done with the help of Duke I&E. I recently created Helion, which is an online tool to help both retail and institutional investors better understand and visualize the social and environmental impact behind the companies in which they invest. And I actually founded this company with two of my friends from the Cube Living Learning community. So I think this really kind of emphasizes the collaborative environment that not only Duke I&E, but Duke University fosters as a whole. Helion has received so much amazing support from Duke I&E, including recently being accepted to pitch our idea at this upcoming startup showcase. That's the annual pitch competition that Duke I&E hosts to support student entrepreneurs. It's coming up on April 11th, so my co-founders and I are working hard to prepare our pitch together. And then going even forward into the future from that, we're working on our application for Melissa and Doug, which is, as we spoke about earlier, one of the best resources on campus for Duke student entrepreneurs. They help get you connected with capital, investors, any resource you need to kind of make your idea a reality and pursue your dreams as an entrepreneur. So overall, I think I have really, really, really loved my I&E experience. I would recommend it to anyone who's coming to Duke. And I hope my experience has shown you kind of the amazing opportunities that can come from being an I&E certificate student. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk.
Thank you, Sammy and John. So I'll turn it over to Kyle and myself and our friends at Family Programs, and our students, and we will start some Q&A, and then we'll talk about ways to stay connected with us and other upcoming opportunities to get engaged.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. So this is the opportunity for our families to ask questions to any of our colleagues from I&E, the 2 students that are here. So again, at the bottom of the screen, there is a Q&A button, and you are able to submit questions through that portal if you have any. So this is the time to ask all those burning questions. I'm happy to get us started with one. So, right, thinking about our families that are on here, I'm imagining there's a few that might be thinking, this sounds awesome. I would love for my student to get involved. My question is actually for the students. How would you suggest, right, a student who's on campus interested, but doesn't really know where to start, how to start to get involved? What would you suggest as a first step for them for engaging with I&E?
Yeah, for sure. I can take this one. I think one of the best things they could do is just kind of go out there, shoot your shot, and just take an I&E course. I think there isn't a single I&E course I've taken that I've been disappointed in. I've never heard of anyone who's taken an I&E course and disliked it. There's such a fun, amazing way to kind of get connected with I&E. And just simply by being in that course, you're going to learn so much about the programs, the opportunities that are available to you, also while having an amazing fun time while doing it. So I would just say kind of take that leap of faith and take an I&E course.
Yeah, I'd agree. Take an I&E elective. You can see they have changing electives every year, and then they also have some that are like tried and true that will always be there that everybody loves. Like I know all the freshmen try to get into learning to fail. That's like a classic one that people take. But I think that's really the best way to plug into the program, and then also like see where your interests kind of are reflected there. But there's also so many different opportunities. Like I think the Startup Fest is soon, so you could go there, and they have different sessions throughout the year that have all of the faculty and different things that you can engage with.
Thank you. Speaking of that, a quick clarifying question. Someone's asking, are all of these courses available from the start, right? Could a first year student start by taking I&E courses?
Yes, students, we have some students that we have for only first years and sophomores, and we have even a half credit for first year students. And so as long as it fits in their academic plan, of course.
Wonderful. In a similar vein, what sort of outreach is there in publicity about I&E to new students? So if a family was on here and wanted to say, have you heard about I&E? What sort of avenues might their student have heard about I&E? It's similar.
I'll have Kyle, because he works a lot on these kind of ways to reach undergraduate students, talk about the ways in which we do that.
Sure. So one of the biggest ways for incoming students is that there's a survey that they'll fill out sometime midsummer, kind of checking off their interest in different bits and pieces around campus and programs and opportunities, and I&E is one of those. So we get a list from the registrar's office of here's the 700 incoming students or the 500 incoming students or whatever it is that said they were interested in I&E and would like to know more. And so they're automatically into our newsletter, and they're hearing about opportunities from courses to programs to events that we're hosting. In addition to that first opportunity, we sponsor one of the experiential orientation programs. So that's the week before classes start that the students are on campus and getting to know Duke, but they're also with a group of peers, and it's kind of organized around a theme. So a student could say, hey, I really want to be in Project Edge is what it's called, the I&E sponsored experiential orientation for that first week. And then we try to get out around campus and share just like the things that these students here are telling you with students in their classes. So I was just in a couple of first year classes, first year chemistry class, first year engineering class today, saying, hey, if you're enjoying this chemistry class and what you're doing here, here's how I&E could complement that and make that chemistry knowledge and skill set even stronger. Hey, you engineers are building stuff, and these are really powerful products that you're doing. I&E can help you understand how do you actually get them out there into the marketplace and have an impact on people. So we try to have those conversations with students and as Kevin was saying, meet them where they're at. So finding them in the first year classrooms. We'll even do office hours. We'll set up in dorms and say, hey, here's an I&E staff person in their common room. They're going to be here for a couple hours today. Come by and just, grab a cookie and ask questions. talk about your idea and try to find them that way. So we are out and about all over campus to connect with students. And I would say pretty safe to say that most students have probably heard about us at least a little bit, would be familiar with our name.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. I can drop a link in the chat so folks can follow along. But one of the questions here also is how much time is really needed to complete a certificate? I don't know if someone decided late in their Duke career, oh, I want to add one of these I&E certificates. How fast is feasible? How many semesters or summers?
Do you want to jump on that, Kevin?
Yep.
Okay.
Go for it.
So the I&E certificate program, like Kevin was talking about, is 4 courses and 2 experiences. Students, particularly if they're entrepreneurially minded or interested in innovation, they've probably done a summer internship or they've done a research project or something by the time they get to their junior year that would count. You can retroactively count it. So you don't join and then from there on, you can kind of check everything off. They might have taken a course in their freshman year and said, I'm not really sure, and they decided junior year to take it. You can retroactively count that. So if you think about 4 courses a semester over 8 semesters for 4 years, you kind of got 32 opportunities. Only 4 of those have to be I&E. And then there's a number of courses that are cross-listed with engineering, with public policy, with economics, with sociology. So you start looking at those, it's actually pretty easy to fit it in. One constraint that we're working under is that the registrar's office will not allow you to change and add a certificate after fall of your junior year. So if you've got a rising senior, second semester junior right now, it's probably too late for them to formally join the certificate, but we can get them into as many of those classes as we can and talk to them about the experiences and kind of help them reflect on that. They could essentially get the value of it without it actually showing up in their transcript. So I think it is pretty accessible for students of all majors and all the way until junior year, they can formally join.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kyle. You all mentioned supporting financially some startups. Can you talk more about what that process looks like?
So we have some funds. Most of our students don't need much funds, though it's common to think that you do. And so we have non-dilutive, or we don't take equity kind of funds. The students own their ideas. So we have a few ways to do that. We have a form on our website if a student needs funds to do a test with their venture. They can apply for a few $100s, and we can review that. And if it's appropriate or makes sense for that test to make sense, we can allocate some money there. The Melissa and Doug Entrepreneurs program that John mentioned, you get a stipend for that 1-year program. And then we have our startup showcase, and that is a series of awards up to a little over $100,000 of funding. And so there's ways that students throughout the year, as they could need some funding, we have some opportunities for that. What we do find most of the time is that students actually think they need funds, but they don't, and we work with them to do really quick kind of iterative processes to find the answer to their question and save them money and time, and so the funds are there. It's a little bit of money to get them going, but most of our students actually are able to keep going without it.
And I feel
And
like
I should say, if a student reaches that stage they need funds, we have people that we can connect them with to do some fundraising, and we guide students kind of through that and advise them.
Thank you. A similar question feels like, so for a student that feels like they can't fit in the courses to their time at Duke, what opportunities or resources are there just to focus on the startup part? Can they engage with your team in just that avenue?
We have mentors in residence, and so those are entrepreneurs who work with us for a few hours a week to have office hours. So any student can meet with them as many times as they want, so they can get mentorship and advising. We have alumni who sign up to volunteer to coach and advise, so we try to connect students there. We have what we call pop-ups, and so these are a series of events and workshops throughout the semester to help students further ideas, open to everybody. Every semester we kick off with a large-scale event to educate, connect, community. And then the spring semester, we kind of end it to provide student opportunities to connect. We also have a startup directory to help students connect based on looking for technical people, looking to connect on ideas. And then even what John said, there's living learning communities for students, and it's called the Cube.
Then the other thing I would add on that is that Melissa and Doug program that John talked about is separate from classes. That's a co-curricular program, not a 4-credit program. And then similarly, I think we're running our second iteration of the summer startup sprint. So if somebody has an idea and has some extra time this summer, again, not for class credit, but just be part of our community of people that are trying to start ventures, there's plenty of ways to do that. So
Wonderful. Well, we've come to near the end of our time together, and I just wanted to provide one last opportunity for our panelists. If there's if there's anything else you want to add, or if there's something you want to underscore, right? We've learned a lot of amazing things on this webinar today, but if there's something you wanted to underscore one more time and make sure that families are coming away with, I just want to provide the opportunity for y'all.
I think as I'm nearing the end of my Duke experience, I&E has really stood out as like one of the best experiences that I could have been a part of, like from in the class to the outside experiences and like all of the co-curriculars and everything that came along with it. It really taught me a lot about myself. And then I think it's really taught some of like the most applicable skills, even though in the moment it might not seem like it, just in terms of like learning resilience and like really great problem solving skills. So I couldn't recommend it more. And all of the classes are so interesting, and the professors and all the staff, like faculty, everybody's so passionate about the department. So it's really been a great addition to my Duke experience.
Grace, were you asking the students or were you asking all of us? I'm sorry.
Any of you, that's fine, but this would also
Okay.
be a great, you could underscore what's on the screen too. And
Yes,
I
wanted to close with a couple of ways to continue that. So if you're looking for a reason to visit your student, come and see it, come to the showcase and bring them as well. So this is open to everybody to be inspired to connect with the entrepreneurial community. It's occurring during a few alumni weekend as well. So please mark your calendars, attend this year or next year, similar timing. We come to areas. So San Francisco will be there in May and looking for Atlanta in October. And then we have more cities will be announced as well. So make sure you sign up and follow us in these various ways. We have a very active, intentional kind of communications team. So everything you get is thought of and hopefully valuable to you. And so your preferred way to engage with us. And we are thankful for spending the time with you. We talk to all students, and so we talk to alumni. We have a team who's dedicated as well to helping and engaging with alumni and having them connect with us and our students. And so one thing we really pride ourselves on is being helpful and providing value in any way we can. So please leave this knowing that Duke I&E has a goal to reach all students wherever they are, and that we are always happy to be helpful and find ways to help them apply innovation, entrepreneurial mindset, and whatever they may do or choose to do during their time at Duke and after.
Wonderful. A huge thank you again to all of our panelists this evening, Kevin, Kyle, Sammy, and John. Thanks for spending your time with us and our families. For anyone listening, if you want to rewatch or you came late and need to catch up on the beginning of this webinar, we'll have it online in about 48 hours. Just give us time to transcribe and give some captions for our recording. We hope you'll join us next month for our next webinar, and have a great evening. Thank you.